Hey everybody, it is November 5th, and today I want to talk about a article from The Hill. Now, I'm sharing this because I think that it needs to be corrected rather than sharing it for its validity, because there isn't much validity in this article. I'll put the link below so you guys can tell me what you think. It's called High Stakes for the Dems' Green Agenda in the Midterms. Let's get one thing clear. If you're voting for a Democrat, you do not have the ability to have a green agenda, because even if, whatever you put here, let me do a screen share here. Share. Okay, that should have worked. Okay, so, no matter what you put on your sign, if you're voting Democrat, you're not voting for clean energy. You're not voting to stop climate change. You're not voting to end nuclear war. You're not voting to end anything environmental, anything health related. You're not helping anybody. As much as they will lead the false narrative telling you that your vote will somehow save you, it won't. If you want to go towards that direction and have a green agenda, go to Green Party or go to Libertarian, go to Third and Fourth Party, which already exists, by the way. And the Democratic Party and the GOP, they want to pretend that these third and fourth parties don't exist, but they do. So you don't have only two choices, So right now I'm seeing the Green Party, I'm seeing independents, I'm seeing the anti-gov people all working together to oppose the duopoly. And I think that's one thing that a lot of us can agree on, is that we have to vote outside the duopoly. But these people that, read The Hill and they believe that everything that they say and their, political bias spin, they believe this. So it's important to, when you read this stuff, to call it out, whether you make videos or whether you write articles or, tweet about it or make memes, call this out. So let's read this. Voters head to the poll Tuesday, which is tomorrow, for a midterm election that could have crucial impact on key environmental policies. Okay, this is not factually true here. I believe that the only way that you can actually say that you're having an impact on environmental policies is if you're voting for a party outside the duopoly that actually puts boots on the ground. Like, for instance, Jill Stein, she went to the No Dapple protest. She was there. She put herself at risk. That would be creating an impact on key environmental policies. The only thing the Democratic Party cares about is the Democratic Party. They care about creating AstroTurf organizations that earn them votes, and the votes earn them money. And the money replaces their credibility, and they have all these celebrities that are willing to pull out their pocketbooks to finance these corrupt candidates. So let me finish reading. If Democrats take control of the House, they would be in position to change the direction of major Trump initiatives and bring tougher scrutiny on administration officials. This is also false, the second statement here. So we got 2 for 2 here. The one, none of us will be safer if the Democrats take control of the House again. I think the only thing that we can do at this point is work to shut them down. So supporting them, or let alone supporting Trump is not going to stop the DNC. Trump is not going to stop Hillary Clinton. That's why I don't even support Green Party, because Green Party cannot do what needs to happen. Like Deb Delapiana says, no matter who you put at the top of the shit pile, it's still going to be a shit pile, But anyway, let's finish reading. Democrats on the House committees overseeing the, let me use my glasses. I know there's a glare, but I can't read it without it. Democrats on the House committees overseeing the Interior Department and Environmental Protection Agency have long complained about the their inability to bring agency heads in for questioning, and the Dem staffers are already gearing up ahead of Tuesday's vote for a potential shift in power. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right now, Democrats and Democrat staffers, that's not going to happen. Because as much as people would like to just ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist, there's a grassroots movement to shut the Democratic Party down. So we're giving people an option to oppose the Democratic Party without having to cast a vote. It may or may not even be counted. That may be flipped. That may be, illegally destroyed despite court rulings. That's how the Democratic Party works. They do and say whatever they can say to get your vote, and then as soon as you're not helpful to them, they just cast you away. They don't need you. We deserve better, is all I'm trying to say. This is coming from a former Bernie supporter, and I'm never going to go back. Once you learn even just a few of the worst DNC crimes, you never go back. The only issue we're having right now is that there's a hang up, there's a learning curve because people don't have the information because of mainstream media that don't report accurately. I mean, that's really all there is to it. One of the top issues lawmakers will hope to address are the various inspector and general investigations opened into Secretary Ryan Zink, including recent reports that one of the cases was referred to the Department of Justice for future investigation and potential crime charges. See, so this article, immediately puts an inaccurate spin on what's actually happening right now with our elections. There is a massive amount of people that are not voting, and they're not voting because they don't see a reason to, because our voting doesn't mean anything. Our voting is pointless. The mainstream media is in collusion with the Democratic Party, primarily. Now, there are Republican-leaning mainstream media that put up the same type of bias, but for the other side. So what we have to do is stop playing that game and stop letting them, pin us against each other. Only way we do that is to unite outside the system, put our own issues aside, and stick to the facts. And the facts are not implying that the Democrats need to take control or that they are going to take control. Neither of them are true. If Democrats are given the opportunity to hold a congressional majority next year, Secretary Zink will be called to testify in February. See, this is what they do. They point the finger at one specific person, and what it does is it turns that person into a victim. Say, for example, the Kavanaugh hearing. I don't support Kavanaugh. I wouldn't have, picked him if it was up to me. I don't support him. I don't support, I know a lot of Trump supporters, I feel like they're supporting Kavanaugh simply because the Democrats tell them not to. So in a way, the Democrats can get them to do whatever they want them to do simply by pretending to be against it. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but at the same time, the Democrats have done much more manipulative things. One, for example, I don't remember what year off the top of my head, but it was a few years ago. It was in the Podesta email. I want to say it was between 2015 and 2016 is when this happened. And the Democratic Party, their campaign staff, I don't remember off the top of my head who it was. I think his name was Mike Pasterbach or something. Made a meme about it. Anyway, they made a fake Craigslist ad that was basically a spoof or a joke Craigslist ad that said, Trump, a position working to work for Trump, looking for women, and then they made lots of sexual things, saying that, basically if you work for Trump, you're going to be sexually assaulted, and that just things like that are just undemocratic and should be illegal. And they were caught doing this. This was in the Podesta emails. I'll put that link below too when this video is done. But they do things like this because they want to make Trump into a victim, and by doing this, they're helping him because his supporters will see that he's being treated unjustly, and they're going to support him more. So the more that they do this, it's not only damaging their party, which is well deserved, but they're helping the GOP. So that's why I tell people not to be upset when people are going to the GOP, because they're still not ready to detach from the system yet. But with any hope, with hard work, they will. Let me finish reading. I mean, this whole thing is just. Oh, also, don't believe any polls, please. Take every poll that you read with a grain of salt, because they're going to push whatever narrative helps them. Let's go to this real quick. Can't believe the Hill is even talking about this. It says Assange says Ecuador is trying to hand him over to the US, which that's exactly what's happening. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange said Monday that he believes the Ecuadorian government is preparing to end his asylum at its embassy in London and hand him over to the US. Assange appointed new rules to the embassy. Assange pointed two new rules the embassy had imposed upon him, which he must follow in order to have internet access, as a sign that he will soon be out of the embassy. Okay, so what they're basically doing, they're saying, okay, we'll give you internet, but on these conditions, and pretty much those conditions are still restricting his free speech. So he's in a really tight bind right now. The rules require Assange to do a variety of things, including pay for medical bills and phone calls, stay away from commenting on controversial topics, and clean up after his pet cat. First of all, I really highly doubt that someone who is trapped in a very small space would not clean up after their cat. I'm not sure why they keep pushing that narrative about his cat. I've seen that a few times, and I think it's pretty pathetic that they would push a narrative to just make him look as bad as he can. But for the record, Assange is a hero, and he inspires me every day to continue on. If you want to find out more about Assange, you can go to unityforj.com or freeassange.com. Let me check and make sure that's right. It might be .net or something. Free. Justice for Assange, that's it. Justice and then the number 4, Assange.com. You can also find out a lot about his court case and just the facts about his situation. I personally made a document out of this information, and I printed it out and protested around my town and posted this information for people to see, coffee shops and on street poles and street signs, and it's vital to get this information out. I try and do a video about Assange at least once a week, and more to come. But let me finish reading this. Assange spoke from the embassy during a teleconference at the first legal hearing of a lawsuit. Actually, from what I understand, that hearing, that teleconference was disrupted. So I don't think he actually could get through and speak to them. So, they're not really showing the real story here. As Assange said, the Ecuadorian government is preparing to toss him. The government's attorney interrupted to warn him not to make political statements during the teleconference. See, it's like, we'll give you free speech as long as you don't use it. That's not free speech, and that's not their right to take away. Salvador did not directly respond to Assange's assertions, but told the reporters last week that Assange is welcome to remain in the embassy so as long as he abides by the new rules. Makes me sick. Salvador said last week that the United Kingdom has stated Assange will not be extradited if he leaves the embassy where he has resided since 2012. I absolutely believe he will be extradited. They will snatch him up as quick as they possibly can. Assange fled to the embassy after UK courts ordered he to be extradited to Sweden. I believe at this time he had actually already filed for to stay at the embassy and was granted it. Oh yeah, now they're trying to bring up the sexual assault case, which was dropped for lack of evidence. Dropped for lack of evidence. Okay. And you can also find more about that here. Let me find it. It's on the justiceforassange.com. So you can find it there. He told the news agency that Ecuador is frustrated by Assange's lawsuit over the new rules. You know what? I hope Assange wins. I hope that he is freed and they do not persecute him. He saved us. He saved us from a Hillary Clinton presidency. I mean, he's a goddamn hero. Straightforward. Sorry for my language, but I respect what he's done so much. He's given his life, so the least that we can do is, make these videos like I'm doing and make memes and make graphics and make music and make art and, show love. Battle this hate, this democratic hate, and don't vote duopoly, please. Tomorrow, if you have to vote, don't vote for two parties that work hand in hand together. I will not be protesting tomorrow like I planned. I have a protest coming up in Seattle on the 12th and the 13th, so I'm kind of preparing for that. I've got like my workstation here. Yeah, just planning, and right now me and Deb Della Piana, we're uniting the DNC fraud along with her Become Ungovernable. We're uniting our two groups together because they're kind of already together anyway, just with what we believe and what we're working on. Basically we're working to overthrow this government. And it's scary, but at the same time, it's beautiful and it's liberating, and I get to personally show people how to speak out and share with them the research that I've learned, and try and get everybody on the same page, because they just don't know how corrupt this government is. They just don't know. And it's like, in 2016, I was filled with rage. I was filled with manipulation from the Democratic Party and the mainstream media. And I want myself and my neighbors and my family and my friends and even strangers, I want us to be free. I want us to not be censored when we speak out against things that we don't agree with. I think that's the only way to go forward, is to unite without political parties and to show people that you don't have to have Soros funding to protest. You don't have to have a political party or support a political party to oppose the Democratic Party or to oppose corruption. You just need a marker or some ink, or however you choose to speak out. There's so many ways. So I'm kind of on a journey right now where I'm just trying to find ways to speak out and show people how to do that too. So if you support me, if you support what I've been talking about, whether it's DNC fraud or meme news. I'll put the links below so you can donate to us. We do this for free. All the donations that we get, they go to supplies and to travel. And, ultimately my goal for the DNC fraud protest is I want to get a van. I want to get a used van. And I want to, we've already invested in a lot of stuff, like we have a banner, we have 2 mics, and we have some walkies, and we have just things that we would use for direct action. And we put a lot of time and effort into this, and we want to unite people without parties. And I want to travel from state to state to state and get people to truly become ungovernable. And, whether they support shutting down the Democratic Party or support shutting down the GOP or just, confronting these people, do it. Take every chance that you can. Sorry, there's noise in the background. Take every chance that you can to show people how to speak out, because they don't know. They have been completely lied to and led down the wrong path. And, the only way to stop the duopoly is to stop playing their games. So that's why I really advocate for Obstruct the Vote 2020, because we have 2 years. It's going to go pretty fast. And we just need to get united outside the political system, because change will not happen from within. I think Seth Rich was a big eye-opener for me. And when I started speaking out against Bernie, I could see all the people that were still chained to the system. And, they demanded that people hold Trump accountable. But I'm like, you're not holding your party accountable. And they'll get mad at me. They'll say, well, if you're not supporting the Democrats, then you're helping Trump. And, I'm going to flip that around on you. And reality shows, the facts show, that if you support the Democratic Party, you do more to help Trump than doing any other thing else. If you support the Democratic Party, you're helping Trump. And I'll tell you how. Specifically, if you don't understand what I'm saying, listen here. Democratic Party, they lie, they manipulate, and they push people to hate Trump for how he looks. They hate Trump for things that he didn't do, and they make Trump into a victim. And Trump is most certainly not a victim, but they make him look like a victim because of the fact that they are so wrong and so nasty and disgusting, making fake Craigslist ads to persuade people to dislike Trump on non-factual information. That's dishonest, and I don't understand why anybody would be okay with that. And that's not even addressing all the other crimes committed by the party. That's just this one little thing, That's another aspect of the DNC fraud protest that is so helpful to a real revolution, because we're documenting this information for people to share on their own time. And I'll put the link below so you guys can read through the information, read through on Meme News on our Twitter page. We share a lot of voices of dissent, and I think that's another key to a real revolution, is lifting up the voices that are working to hold corruption accountable from outside the system. Because when you look at it, you see how divided we are between parties, and we care about, our candidate. One little candidate at a time is what we care about. But when you put faith in a system that's broken, when you put faith that and legitimize a corrupt election, corrupt media, then you don't help anybody. You hold back a real revolution. So, when I advocate for Obstruct the Vote, I want to give people power. I want to give us power back. I want to unite us despite our political differences. I want us to unite around stopping corruption. One last thing to the Democrat voters tomorrow. Think about it. and think if you can accurately really explain who your candidate is, and think about how they are going to actually stop DNC corruption, because they're not. If you're voting for a candidate that will have absolutely no ability to end corruption within the party, why are you voting for them? You know, I understand to some extent why Trump voters think that voting red will stop the Democrats, but it won't. I guarantee you it won't. And the only way you're gonna believe it is if you see it. So we'll just see. Um, we'll see. I hope you have a happy election day. I hope you either stay home or go out and protest outside the polling stations and hand out information about government crime, or vote outside the duopoly. You know, I can get behind all three of those um, as a better than nothing kind of deal. You know, like I think we can really only gain our power back as if we stop voting and show them, you know, these corporations that buy our government, that buy to have to pay to have their voice above everybody else. I want to see them go broke. You know that phrase, eat the rich? This is how we're going to do it, or this is one of the ways. And we're going to continue to let them spend their money, let them waste their money year after year after year, and keep putting this money in these politicians' pockets. And, you know, eventually we'll have nobody at the polling booths. That's our goal. That is a real, legitimate goal that we have the right to push for. If Nancy Pelosi has the right to tell people that she's going to give them health care and then not follow through on it, we have the right to call that out. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So I hope you have a have a good day, have a good week, be safe. See you next time.